We're off to the Arctic Circle. 9 boats. A gentle start, but it's getting tough already.
It's a race with no marks. 3,500 miles to the Arctic Circle and back via whatever route you choose. And it's a race with a reputation.
Nine IMOCAs slipped away from Les Sables d'Olonne on Sunday the 7th of June. It was the start of the Vendee Arctique, and for many, a voyage into the unknown. Conditions were quiet, and by local standards, this was a low-key departure, but with one objective: sail to the Arctic Circle and back to Les Sables d'Olonne. There were no physical marks to round, but about 3,500 nautical miles to sail. And you could pick your own turning point. Simple. Well, sort of. The fleet was faced with its first tactical decision within hours. The new wind farm off Île-Noirmoutier and its exclusion zone had to be negotiated. For a time, it looked as though Italian skipper Ambrogio Beccaria had stolen a march by choosing to go inshore, and for a time he led. But as the breeze filled in from the west, Beccaria's advantage disappeared, and it was British skipper Sam Goodchild who took the lead.
Hello, c'est Sam. On arrive dans la mer Celtique et la mer commence à monter. Là, on a 2,70 m, on attend jusqu'à 4,70 m et ça tape déjà pas mal. Donc, je pense que la nuit va pas être facile. Mais voilà, il va falloir faire attention et j'ai déjà commencé à ralentir un peu pour pas trop tirer sur le bateau. On a 35 000 d'avance sur le deuxième, donc on a un peu de chance de pouvoir faire attention.
Hey guys, 20 plus knots of wind. I took a reef and I just went outside to make sure all the mainsail is tight. So I put all the reef ties just to avoid any issue. Pretty tired, pretty full on. It's been yeah, still on J2. It's quite on the edge, but already with a reef you feel so much better.
The fleet stayed well west of the separation schemes off Ushant, and from here they were into the Atlantic proper. The second night at sea brought strong westerly winds with gusts of over 35 knots.
Really intense conditions on board. We had up to gusts of like 37 knots, something like that this morning. And the waves are pretty big. Life on board hard. And yeah, yesterday night I also had a little bit of seasickness, so that didn't help a lot, but the boat was doing well and I'm doing better this morning. I took care of myself. Oh yeah.
We also had the first retirement. Corentin Haro had to turn back when his J3 headsail chainplate failed.
On va être obligé d'abandonner, de retourner à l'Orient. On va se prendre de mer, il y a du vent et arracher le point fixe du J3. On commence à taper fort et c'est arraché, désolidariser de son ancrage. Et voilà, c'est comme ça. C'est la voile.
This was a great shame, as Haro had been Sam Goodchild's closest rival for the lead. The boat, MACSF, had come second in the last Vendée Globe when it was called Vendee Arctique and skippered by Johan Richomme. But Goodchild's boat Massif had won when it was sailed by Charlie Dallin.
On sort de nuit quand même bien costaud. C'était pas tout facile, tout repos, mais j'ai pas eu de repos même. Mais voilà, content de vos sorties. Tout à l'heure, je vais faire un check de bateau. Là, je vais manger, dormir un peu. C'est de recharger les batteries parce que la nuit n'était pas été simple. J'ai pas pu beaucoup dormir et j'ai géré le bateau pas mal, donc voilà. Mais là, on est au nord de l'Irlande et on fait 4 vers le nord. On est déjà à 56 nord, on est parti des 46 et on vise les 66, donc on est au mi-montée. À bientôt, ciao!
But the leader was being kept honest by his pursuers. Elodie Bonifou was keeping close on Association Petit Prince. Perhaps not too surprising, given that this boat is almost a sister ship to Massif, albeit with some refinements.
Regarde-le toute beauté, dis-moi. C'est hyper haut, c'est hyper imposant, c'est hyper hostile, mais c'est vraiment chouette. Avec la petite éclaircie là, il y a pas mal d'oiseaux à voler autour de nous.
Also in the hunt was 25-year-old Violette d'Orange on Initiative's Cur, the boat that British sailor Sam Davies had sailed in the last Vendée Globe. It was becoming clear that this part of the race was taking its toll on the skippers throughout the fleet. But for Ambrogio Beccaria, there was a serious problem.
È la merda qua. Ho dovuto ammainare tutto. Sono bloccato e lì dietro c'è la costa a 5 miglia, quindi devo fare abbastanza in fretta. E sono bloccato, ho preso una merda nella chiglia, non so che cazzo sia, una rete da pesca, non so, c'è un pallone. Non riesco a ripartire, sono bloccato qui. Quindi devo andare in acqua a tagliarla. Mi preparo e vado.
Just 5 miles off the Irish coast, Allegrande Mappe's keel had snagged a buoy. The boat had stopped dead. This extraordinary footage shows Beccaria's hazardous operation to free himself. To say he was relieved to have succeeded doesn't really do this extraordinary Italian justice. After these heroics, he was back in the race and heading north. Moving into their 4th day at sea, the skippers were preparing for their biggest strategic call so far. Weather projections were showing a small area of low pressure developing in the Norwegian Sea, right in their path. Negotiating this without sailing any further than necessary to reach the Arctic Circle would be crucial. The fleet might be smaller than on the previous 2 occasions, but the Vendee Arctique was delivering a tactical and challenging race already. And on Thursday morning, 4 days after leaving Les Sables d'Olonne, Sam Goodchard looked set to be the first to cross the Arctic Circle, 300 miles to the east of Iceland. But the approach to the halfway point hadn't been easy.
Allô, c'est Sam sur Massif sur Tibrance et on est dans la dernière tempête avant le cercle polaire. Je vous montre un peu. Ça c'est la carte de coup. On est les petits bateaux noirs au milieu. Il y a plus de vent dans l'est, mais on est bien suffisant et surtout ce qu'on a, c'est de la mer qui est très courte. Pas très grosse, mais pas très courte. Oh. On a le tout petit voile d'avant et 2 riz dans la grande voile. Et là, il y a 35 nœuds de vent. Et c'est pas très confortable. Il reste encore 2 heures comme ça, je pense. Et puis voilà, après on a un peu plus de mal pour finir le chemin jusqu'au cercle polaire.
But for many of the competitors, this 3,500-mile out and return trip is part of a bigger picture. Some, like Francesca Clapcich, have set their sights on the Vendée Globe in 2028. And for the Italian-American sailor, the road to her goal is very different to the norm. I spoke to her a few weeks earlier when her offshore season was about to begin.
Frankie, good to see you.
Yes.
And interesting to see you back on a boat you know very well, don't you? You've done quite a few miles on this boat.
I actually did, yeah, you're right. I mean, the colors are a bit different, but everything else, you know, it's quite familiar.
Yeah.
I've been racing most of last year on board Team Malizia, and we've done the Course du Cap, lots of trainings, the Ocean Race Europe. Then we've done the Transat Floor at the end of the season with the colors of my own team. And yeah, the machine is the same machine. We did few optimization in the winter, but it's really nice to get even on the pit and know exactly
Yeah.
where to put your hands. We don't even have to look at it. So
Yeah.
that's pretty special.
So what you've done some work on the boat. Have you changed an awful lot on it?
We did few changes. It's been a really, I would say, challenging winter for the technical team because we didn't stay in the shed for a really long time. You know, other teams are just putting the boat back in the water or are still in the shed, and we try to like really maximize the time on the water. But we try to move the center of gravity of the boat as much forward as you could, and trying to get the boat lighter. Or, you know, it's always hard with a boat that is not brand new to get weight off. But the boat normally had quite of a really bow up behavior. So, of course, when you're in big waves going downwind, that's great. But, you know, upwind or reaching was definitely the weak point of this design.
Right.
So we did some adjustment, we moved some systems forward, and of course, as you could see, it was a massive work on the branding too.
Yeah.
So that took a long time.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the coach roof, which is very, very distinctive, you
Yes.
wouldn't recognise the boat at all, would you? It's this that
Right.
gives it away.
I know, and it's quite of a big eye effect too, right? Going from, you know, the branding identity that Malizia has, that is really black and dark, and going to our identity that is way more bright and colorful, and there's a lot of white actually on the boat. So
Yeah.
it does catch the eye quite differently.
Yeah. Okay, well, a very simple question. Why? Why
How-
do it?
Why?
Why take on the solo challenge? What's the big appeal for you?
I love the challenge. I got the question really often about the Vendée Globe. I'm saying, it's always been your dream to do the Vendée Globe. I'm like, no. I'm really honest about it. It's never been my dream. You know, I grew up in a small town in Italy, and no one ever talked about the Vendée Globe. It's just something that was so far away. My dream has always been to go to the Olympics, represent my country at the Olympics, try to win a medal. That's what I grew up with since I was, 5 years old. I wanted to just go to the Olympics. But then I grew up and I found like new challenges. It's a big sport that allows you to do so many different things with the knowledge that you learn from the previous ones. And it was kind of, I did the ocean race, and I do enjoy offshore racing, of course, a lot. But it was always in crew. And at one point I was like, that can be really cool. Like, why not trying, to go for this big challenge and challenge myself first, to be able to do it, to be good at it. And so I see it as a professional and personal challenge more than anything.
Right. Of course, one of the things you will also have seen, we were asking Ollie here about it today actually, is that it does seem like once you've done a Vendée Globe, you want to do another one. That is coming your way,
Yeah, I know. I mean, they're big projects, right? So of course, I think it's not, even like as a business, if you see it as a business, it's probably not the smartest thing to do, to wait until you finish your race, to think about what your future will be. If you want to secure sponsorship, if you want to secure funding, if you want to build a new boat and move forward in the technical side of it, you probably need to have already an idea in your mind that is something that you might want to do again. So personally, I'm definitely giving myself this year of grace.
Yeah.
I want to, like start now with the 1000 race, and there will be the Vendee Arctique and the Route du Rhum. It's a big year where I can really test myself, and I can actually really realize if I like it or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was only really teasing. But it is interesting to see how many people do get drawn back into it.
Yeah, I think it's really natural. I remember still my first ocean race in 17-18. Getting into Itajaí after the Southern Ocean, I was like, never again. This is miserable. Why are we doing this? After a couple of caipirinhas on the beach and a week of rest, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
It was not that bad. I can do this again.
So this season, it's an interesting season for you because you start off with this race as a solo race. You're doing the Ocean Race Atlantic, fully crewed. Then it's the Route du Rhum, back to solo sailing.
Yeah.
It sort of seems to fit with the way that you've got into this anyway, with sort of a mixture of fully crewed and shorthand and the rest of it.
Yeah.
But was that Did you specifically look at that? Was that part of your plan to make sure that this season had some races that had a mixture of those, or was it just the way it fell and those are the races that were on the table?
I think it's a mix of both. You know, for sure the race kind of fell into place, and it's a good way to, I think, also keep getting better, you know, on the boat. It will be really interesting for me to go from the beginning of the season that is really solo focused and, you know, quite big races too, like the Vendee Arctique can be even longer than the Route de Rome.
I forgot that one, yes.
You know, and then get back into the crew racing and be like, oh, okay, like now that it's almost the pressure is slightly off because you are with people around, you can do maneuver together. Okay, how can I do things differently? Everybody bring their own experiences. That's what I really love of crew sailing. Even someone that doesn't have experience on an IMOCA can really bring something from different sailing that can actually work, and you put everything in practice and you realize that you can find a way to do things differently, but it ended up being better. And then trying to transfer that again into the end of the season in the Route de Rome and see if it works when you're on your own. And I see it as a ongoing learning process.
Yeah. Where have you set your goals then?
Especially for this year, I have more performance goals than results. You know, I always been like that since I was doing like Olympic classes. You know, normally the result take care of itself when a lot of other things before that get ticked off properly. So it's about how you start the race. It's about making the right decision, like strategically. It's about having the right sails at the right moment, avoiding mistakes, and you kind of adds up all this like smaller performance goal, and at the end, I mean, the result is a number, right? So it's hard to just set up a number because it's so irrelevant sometimes.
Yeah.
And,
but I suppose the thing is, you do come at it from a different point of view from some others in that you've got such a broad range of experience, haven't you? I mean, you've done the ocean race fully crewed, so you've been round a couple of times already anyway. You were telling me earlier on that you did a Figaro circuit as well, so you got that as well. I mean, you've got a very broad range, and the Olympic discipline and everything else.
And the cup with the women's team on the AC4 and stuff. Again, I love the sport. I love competing, and I love being part of teams and projects, and kind of just like going every day at work and with the motivation of learning something new. And so I've been really, really lucky and privileged to be part of so many different things and try to put everything together, you know. And every day, even on this boat, I try, to think about solutions. I was like, this is something that I did on, I don't know, with a cup. It might work or not. We're completely different boats, completely different teams, but maybe, why not? And I think that background is really something special to hold on it.
The full interview with Francesca is well worth a listen, and we'll be putting this out shortly. So to make sure you don't miss it, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. Doing that will also make sure that you don't miss the next episode on this extraordinary race to the ice and back.